Hi, in this tutorial, we will learn how to download the MySQL Server as well as MySQL Workbench. So first of all, you have to go to mysql.com/downloads. You can even Google that, and once you will do that, you will be shown this page wherein you will see a link in the bottom, MySQL Community Downloads. So that link contains different kinds of softwares which are related to MySQL and which enables you to download those for free. So you can just click on it and you'll be shown a list of options, and we will be exploring the MySQL Server as well as MySQL Workbench. Now that the page have loaded, we can see we have multiple options of downloading the MySQL community softwares, and we'll be focusing on the two of these. First is the community server and second one is the Workbench. So first of all, clicking on the community server, click on it and you will be shown a page where you will be presented with multiple download options for different operating systems as well as for different OS versions, and also for different processors. For example, we are having ARM type processor, then we are having x86 which is for Intel processors. So you have to download the right type of software for your computer. So in this case we have downloaded the ARM version, but our machine has the Intel processor. So in this case, even if we will download and install the software, it won't run. So we have just click on no thanks, just download my software, and we are running the DMG file now, and it will just open it, and then we will be installing the software through this pkg file. So click on it and you will be shown a downloader window. Just follow the instructions and the software will get installed in few seconds. So like just enter the password and then it is writing the files and it will just install it within few seconds, and now you can either keep the installer or you can move it to trash and you are done, you're through. But this software will not run because it was of wrong processor type. So now we have to go back again and we have to download the right version of the installer for our machine. Now we'll be going to the archives to download the older version of MySQL Server, which will be compatible with Mojave, the operating system that we are using. So you have to ensure that the software which you are using is compatible to your operating system and the version of your operating system. So we'll be exploring different product versions for macOS, and we'll be finding the one which is compatible with Mojave. So this one is compatible with Sierra and High Sierra, but it is very old. So we'll be finding the right version for our computer just to be on the latest side, like the most recent compatible software for our operating system. So here we are with the product version 8.0.20, which is compatible with Mojave. So we will download this version, and it is also available for Intel, so which is the best thing, because earlier we downloaded the wrong version and it didn't work at all. So we had to redo it. So here we are downloading the right version of MySQL Server for our machine. So if you are stuck with anything, just search for the MySQL Server which is compatible to your operating system and the version, because if you won't, then you will keep on struggling, and rest installation process will be same. You can't really change the destination. Installer type, yes, you can customize it a little by including the MySQL test databases as well, which are very heavy, but if you want to try, you can try. And then the installation will happen, and the final bit is the configuration, wherein it will ask for the password which you want to set for the root, which can be changed later on as well. But if you want to have some password, you can select something right now. So just select some random password and remember that. So ensure that you remember that, and now it is doing the final touch up, and now the software has been installed. You can choose to either keep the installer or you can move it to trash, and The preferences error was still there. I couldn't solve it during the time of recordings, and here we are now in the terminal. We are trying to run this command MySQL, but it's not running. Why? Because we have to set an alias, um, just so that it knows, what MySQL command points to. So we will be doing that now. So for that, you need to go to the documentation and read it a little. So go through these docs, the relevant ones. So like on the top, there is MySQL Server. So click on the MySQL reference manual. It is always a good way to use the software by going to the official documentation. You will need to inculcate that habit of reading. So go through these and you will never face some major problems at all, because documentations are the official uh, guides for using these softwares. So here, if you'll go through these, you will understand the issue of why that command is not working and how to basically set up the alias. So this bit is very important as well, like how the MySQL server is initialized and installed. So there are different key points which you will learn from this documentation. So you can try running these commands as well, just in case you want to load the MySQL. Load as in initialize or start the software. So in this case, it has already loaded, so we won't be facing much issues. But you can ensure that you will be running these commands. And this was the documentation which we followed for learning how to install the MySQL server. And these are the directories of MySQL in your system which are installed after running the installer. So you must know that as well. Now setting up the alias for the command MySQL, just copy paste these two lines and you will be through. Now the MySQL command will work because now it knows what file is it pointing to. So here it says access denied for user. So what we will do now is we will try to read the documentations again. So in this case, we'll be going to the tutorial section and we'll be learning how to use different kind of commands. So one of them is hyphen hyphen help, and again we are having this connecting to and disconnecting from the server. So in this case, we'll be try to log in into MySQL server using the username and password. So the syntax is MySQL -h, localhost is the server, -u, username, -p will be the password which it will ask. Now that you are logged in your server, you can just try to run few commands. So for example, create database and database name. So in this case, being skilled, and then a new database has been created in our MySQL server. So we will just try to see how many databases are there in the system. And we can see we have this being skilled database in our MySQL server. In this tutorial, we will learn how to install the MySQL Workbench. So first of all, you have to go to MySQL downloads section. There you will see multiple options. You have to just go to the MySQL community downloads, click on that link, and you'll be shown multiple options to download the MySQL softwares. So click on the MySQL Workbench option from those links, which is an amazing software used for executing the MySQL queries by connecting it to the MySQL server which you are running in your machine. So here we are seeing multiple options. So click on MySQL Workbench and this page will open, which will show you the most recent version of Workbench available for downloading. So here you can either select your operating system or you can just continue by clicking on the download button to download the DMG file, which will have an installer in it. So this one is compatible with 10.15 macOS and beyond. So if you are using an older version, then you will be needing to download the older version of MySQL which is compatible with your operating system. So for now, just click on no thanks, just start my download and it will download that DMG file. If you wish to register on the website, you can click on sign up, or if you have the MySQL account already, you can just click on the login button as well. Now the installer is running and it will soon show us the Workbench application, which you can move to the applications folder of your computer to install the software. But this one is not compatible with our operating system because it was because ours is an older version of macOS. So we will go to archives and we will download the older version of MySQL 8 which is compatible with our Mojave operating system. So we are just trying to find the most recent one which was compatible with Mojave. So this one is compatible with Mojave, so we will just click on download and we will run the installer again, and it is currently loading. And it has loaded. Now we will just move the Workbench file to the applications folder of our operating system, and now it has copied. Now we will try to run Workbench and execute one SQL query just so that we know that it is working fine. So Workbench is basically an interface which connects with the MySQL Server installed on your operating system. So we will now open the Workbench application which we have copied recently and downloaded it. So we will just try to maximize that and connect the Workbench with the local MySQL connection. Enter your root password which you had set up earlier, and we will now write a query which will be a very basic create table name and then the column and the data types, and we'll try to execute that. So here we have this create table name which will be students bracket starts, and then the column name which will be f name, and then data type can be varchar or varchar, and then bracket starts and the length of that column, and then we will have location and then varchar or varchar and then the length of the column, and then we will just close the brackets, and then it shows an error that select a database. So for that we can just have being skilled dot students instead, and then the query will execute it beautifully. So this is how we are executing SQL queries in MySQL Workbench. And just to verify, we will refresh that and we can see now that table has been created called students in the database being skilled. So this is how you install and use MySQL Workbench for running your MySQL queries.
Thanks so much for watching this tutorial. If you liked it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you didn't, then leave a comment so that we can improve it further. Do watch these suggested tutorials to learn even more, and do let us know what you want to learn on being skilled.